Hi guys, it's Quinn here. If you enjoy my videos, consider hitting the like button. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm really notices me. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Now, in this book, you have the last remnants of humanity on a ship called the Gilgamesh. Whenever you have a situation where humanity is diluted to such a small number, everything means more. Every event on this ship has more impact. Any small thing could threaten the future of all of humanity. So throughout the book on this ship, we basically follow three key characters: Dr. Holston Mason, Issa Lane, a key crew engineer, and Vry Guyen, the commander of the Gilgamesh. Most of the humans on board this ship are still cryonically frozen. Key members of crew are unfrozen when necessary. We mainly follow the perspective of Dr. Holston Mason as he is frozen and unfrozen throughout the eons. And this does eventually start to disorient him, as it would. Can you imagine if you were frozen and then awoke decades later, and then were frozen again and woke another decades later, and everything is constantly changing around you? It's not really a good way to experience existence. What happened? He was asking himself frantically. Lane was working to contain the Guyen infection. There was nothing I could do. I had to go back to sleep in the end. So how did it come to this? He felt that he was developing some kind of hitherto unknown ailment, some equivalent of motion sickness, caught from too many dissociated moments of history crammed into too little personal time. So what's interesting about this is if we ever hope to travel space, we either have to create ships that are fast enough to get to the destinations within our lifetime, which seems unlikely, or we have to figure out a way to extend our lives so that we can last long enough to reach our destination. And one of the ways that that is done in science fiction is cryonics. Now, realistically, if we had this technology and we were able to cryonically freeze people and put them aboard a vessel heading to another location, there likely would have to be people that woke up every now and again to check on the systems and to do maintenance. I like how this book is considering what exactly that's like. But what makes the situation particularly stressful and disorienting for Dr. Holston Mason is the fact that things aren't staying static as they should, because humanity is looping back into old patterns. Now, we've talked about Dune a lot on this channel, and one of the main themes of Dune is don't put all of your faith in charismatic leaders. So you have the character Guyen, who is the commander of the Gilgamesh, and he essentially creates a cult around himself. He allows people to start having children, and these children are raised believing that he is some kind of god. So members of the crew are being awakened out of their sleep, only to realize that Guyen has become a madman who's taken over the ship and also has a following of fanatics on board. So it's really interesting to watch all of this evolve over the course of this novel. And it's also interesting to see the Gilgamesh, a ship which was not meant to be a generational ship, be repurposed as a generational ship. And the results are not pretty. So if you're not familiar with the concept of a generational ship, allow me to explain. So when considering how humanity can survive long-term liminally in space, then we often talk about generational ships, which are essentially space vessels, which are equipped to house multiple generations of humanity over long periods of time. So rather than the initial people on the ship making it to the destination, their ancestors will be the ones that make it to the destination. The rest of them will live and die aboard the ship. Now, the problem with the Gilgamesh in this story becoming essentially a generational ship is that it was never equipped to do so. They do not have the resources to support this many humans. The vast majority of people were meant to stay frozen until they reached a suitable destination. Because of Guyen, this didn't happen. So as time goes on, they're stripping the ship and repurposing pieces of it. People are crammed into very small spaces. Everything has to be reused. It is just quite simply not at all a comfortable environment and not any way that humans should be living. And that's very disturbing to know that this is a potential possibility should we actually go this route. So the character Guyen eventually uploads himself into the ship's computer, and even after years and years, they still can't fully get him out. And I think that might be kind of a metaphor for how certain leaders will influence the population for years to come, even if those ideas aren't necessarily the best. Some people leave a kind of scar or residue on society. So of course, what's really interesting about this novel is that we actually jump between reading about the trials and tribulations of the last humans to reading about a society of sentient spiders who have been evolved by a man-made virus. I've already done an entire video on that, which you can check out here. But it's interesting to see this spider civilization grow and actually become fond of them, and to also see humanity continue to decline. And though you want humanity to be saved, you don't want them to be saved at the expense of the spider civilization. So curiously enough, in my opinion, you end up rooting more and caring more about the spider civilization than the human civilization, which I think is just fantastic. So eventually I'm going to cover the sequel to this book, Children of Ruin, which takes place directly following the events of Children of Time, so I will get to that soon. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe for more Quinn's ideas, and if you're interested in learning more about science fiction books, check out my channel. Thanks guys. Just a heads up for those of you that may be interested, my next graphic novel, The Lie Behind the Star, is launching February 2023. You can sign up now to get on the email mailing list to get notified as soon as it launches. More information on my website, link in the description. Thank you guys so much.